Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Someday I'll Have a Podcast. My name is Ren. I'm your host. I just started giggling because my mind moves so much faster than my mouth can like even catch up. And then by the time I've said the thing that I was thinking, 55 other thoughts came through that I wanted to talk about, and I just haven't had the time, and now they're gone. The train left the station type shit. You know what I mean? But anyway, welcome to Someday I'll Have a Podcast, where basically we are a stream of consciousness, very slightly edited, if all edited. Sometimes I edit out long pauses because my brain freezes for a little minute. Unfiltered, unedited, raw frickin' podcast. Basically started this because I kept saying I would someday do some shit, and here I am. I need to start doing it. Someday is today, okay? So here we are with a podcast. I was not planning to record an episode tonight because I literally have 945 million other things to get done, but like it's fine because I feel like I just wanted to talk about this a little bit before the story totally escaped me. There's a note in my phone about what I wanted to talk about, but I feel like if I look back at this in a month, I'm going to be like, who was Brenda? Like who is Brenda and why was I want to talk about her? But anyway, to begin, very recently, pretty recently, a good friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, a friend that I freaking love having around, said a quote to me that was, be curious, not judgmental. And for whatever reason, that has started like popping up for me, in like my day-to-day experiences. And so I feel like that's just something I wanted to talk about. And I think in one of my last episodes, I don't know how much of a big listener you are of this podcast, but I spoke in one of my recent episodes about like catching myself being judgmental about people's life decisions. And like, who the hell am I to have any opinion on what other people are doing, you know? Especially because, being judgmental like that is really against everything I believe in. So like, gotta practice what I preach. Anyway, that said and done. With that being said, whatever the phrase is, I just want to talk about like doing our best to like be judgment free. But I have a little anecdote, and that's where Brenda comes in. So I recently volunteered at Toys for Tots, which is an organization that is like put on by the Marine Corps, the military, the United States military. And I really not. I'm just gonna be so honest. I don't know a lot about the military. I know that my dad was in the Air Force, and I know that they go to boot camp and use a lot of guns. That's what I know, okay? But with the use of the guns, I've never been so, I guess, like intrigued to learn a lot more or like do a deep dive. Like I hate war. I hate the idea of war. I think it solves nothing. I think it's stupid. And not to say that I don't support the military. I think war and like the fact that we need a military, it really screws me up in the head. So I don't like to, engage. But I was volunteering and was put on by the Marine Corps. So I'm like, whatever, let's do it. Let's support the kids of the nation and our troops. So when I get there, I meet this older lady named Brenda. And she's the first person to really get talking to me. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm there by myself. I don't know a single soul. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's in charge. I'm like, who do I talk to? But this lady Brenda's like, hi, I'm also volunteering. I'm like, what's up, girl? Basically, when she started talking, she was very gung-ho, military, very, I guess just like really like evidently in support of the military. Come to find out, she was in the Air Force. Let me just rewind for a second because I feel like another reason I feel a certain way towards the military, and like that is because often the people you see, oh my gosh, this is such a generalization and I really feel like an asshole saying this. I associate, me personally, let me reframe. I associate often the strong support of the military with more politically conservative outlooks, which is the opposite, and mostly of what I believe and what I'm into, subscribe to, whatever, my outlooks, my ideologies. So anyway, find out Brenda's in the Air Force. And I'm like, that's badass. My dad was in the Air Force. We love airplanes. Amazing. But then she starts to tell me about all her feminist activities and experiences and how grateful she is to see the progress we've made as a nation to like change and completely turn over the opportunities and accessibility for women in the country. She was telling me how literally back then, when she was in the 70s, when she was in the Air Force, she often felt useless because women couldn't be pilots. And that's what she wanted to do. But, the standards of the time and the way that our system was set up, women could not be pilots. And I just wanted to keep hearing more and more of her story. I was just hearing about all her different adventures, and it was honestly amazing because while women couldn't do the seemingly important jobs in the Air Force, she was still able to have an impact, but also to have these incredible experiences and learning experiences and traveling and play an important role, even though she wasn't on the front line in combat. We all know that women really have been the backbone of our wars in the past, and just hearing her talk about the strength and the happiness that she feels in seeing the progress that we've made as a society, it made me feel really good. It made me feel like what I'm doing matters, and that women are finally having voices. It almost like made me step back and say like, okay, like we have done a lot of wonderful things. We have made moves. We've made so many differences, and people see that. I don't know. I think overall it was just really empowering to hear her experience and hear her talk about fighting the good fight. She was telling me how she is a part of the Daughters, the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution organization. And to just be totally transparent, I thought that was a thing made up in Gilmore Girls. Yep, I thought that the DAR was just a thing that they made up so that Emily Gilmore could prance around and be snooty about the girls in the DAR. But let me tell you, my new friend Brenda has been working her ass off to get funding for different, like, not charity projects, but like charity projects. Funding for different, oh my God, what is the word I'm trying to say? She has been working her little booty off with the Daughters of the American Revolution to make change. And if it wasn't for her, maybe women still couldn't be pilots. You know what I mean? And this circles back to the be curious and not judgmental thing, because right off the bat, I had this idea of what she was going to say, the things that were going to come out of her mouth, the way that she leaned politically, the way that she was going to engage in conversation, which was so not fair of me. And instead, I flipped it. I was able to flip it in that moment and just let myself be so curious. And I just wanted to know more. She was so cute. She was like, let me hire you at this restaurant that my friend owns. But I used to be like, exchange phone numbers and everything. And she was like, you can't text me. It's a landline. I'm old school. And I'm like, yes, Brenda. Yes, girl. Have your landline. But yeah, and so I learned that the Daughters of the American Revolution is a real thing. And right now they're working on a project of someone I guess donated like a bunch of money. And they're working on getting that money to be granted to buying an apartment complex to house women who have been displaced, women veterans, often with children who have been displaced since their time serving in the military, to basically help them get on their feet. I think she said it was either the south side or the west side of Chicago, but they're working on, it's like such a circular, cyclical thing of like, women have to keep helping women and circle it out. I mean, humanity has to keep helping humanity, right? But it was just really cool to remind myself to let go of any judgment or any like preconceived notions about a person and really just dive into that state of curiosity and learn, because that's where the growth happens, y'all. And that's what's important. And I mean, besides that little anecdote, honestly, what has being judgmental ever got anyone? I really would like to know your answer to that question. Please tell me, because what has being judgmental ever gotten anyone, right? Like, be curious when you meet someone who's freaking weird out in the world, instead of being like, oh my gosh, they're so weird for doing X, Y, or Z. Why not be curious? Why not ask them questions about what makes them do that? What is their motivation? How they are the way they are? And learn. Take those experiences and learn from them. And honestly, like being normal is so freaking mediocre and exhausting and tiring. Like, literally get that shit out of my face. Like, please, away. Not me being judgmental to the normies. Oh my gosh, am I a hypocrite? I'm a hypocrite. Anyway, if you actually have a valid answer to what has being judgmental ever gotten anybody, how has that ever advanced our societies, advanced someone's mind or experience, please DM me on Instagram at livinlarge.lcrew, because I would love to know. I'd love to chat about it. I would love to talk about it and hear about what you have to say. And we can open this up for a little segment on the next episode type thing. We can do shit like that, okay? Send me the things. Send me the things on Instagram. And we'll do that. We'll do like a rewind segment and talk about the previous episodes, do a little catch up, and then we'll jump into the new thing. See, this is great. This is great. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've said all that I needed to say at the moment. I think it's really cool. I feel like I personally am doing so much growing, so much blossoming, if you will, in this stage of my life, that I want to share it with the world. I want to share it with you, the listener. And I think that's been a big push I've always said, like, I'm gonna have a podcast, someday I'll have a podcast. But I think entering into this blossom era of my life, I just feel like I finally am doing what I'm meant to be doing in some capacity. I know I've got a long way to go, but it's cool to be able to share these things with you all, and we can grow together. Like, let's just all level up together in tandem, next to each other, holding each other's hands, giving each other hugs. And if you're not a physical touch person, giving each other air hugs. I'm not a physical touch person either. I'm really not. Anyway, that was my short little episode. I feel like, honestly, most of these episodes are pretty short unless I'm having a guest on, which, by the way, is happening soon. I promise. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Time for the what's on repeat for Ren segment of the podcast, basically where I tell you a song that has been on repeat for me lately, because I love sharing music. I think everyone should be blessed with the wonderful music that I listen to. I think everyone should be blessed with new music options. And so I basically go into my Spotify on repeat playlist that they make for me, based on the amount of times that I have listened to a song. And I tell you the top one, and I knew this was coming. I knew it was coming. My most played song right now, the one that you should go listen to, is a song. It's called Space for You by Avenue Beat. Super cute, super fun. I don't know what else to say except for it's literally like a real thing in my life right now. It's kind of cute, kind of funny, kind of silly, goofy. All right, now I'm just saying a bunch of words. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode. It's so wonderful to have you here. And I just want to encourage you to turn your some days into today. Make it happen.